Hello there, and welcome to this meta video. It's been a while since the last video. I apologise for that. I did have plans, but the rugby season has started, and I've got some coaching stuff to do this year, so it's going to be difficult for me to record regularly, which is a bit annoying. But never mind. I'm going to now that so basically what happens with Warhammer tournaments is that throughout the summer months, like summer holidays, it tends to be quite a lot. So weekly then makes a bit more sense. Whereas now we're going into essentially like term time and sports seasons that I'll probably drop back to doing it monthly. But however, we will continue to look at the meta. I've also decided not to use the stuff on new recruit because it's just an absolute nightmare to use to get the data off. It's weird because you can download the results as like a CSV, so it's hypothetically easier. But then the factions that it downloads are icons, so then you have to go through one by one, and there's no way of like making that take any less than about 15-20 minutes per bloody result. So it's an absolute. I had to go at the square based online things where there was like 96 players, and I got to like line 40 and decided that my mental health was more important than getting that data off. But anyway, I'm sure Squarebase will cover their own events on their channel, so we won't be completely without them. I think there is another bit of software that does tournament results as well. So if somebody knows it, please put it in the comments below. Because well, I'd like to be able to include it. Anyway, so basically how this works is I'm going to spend about 5 or 10 minutes going through the meta, and then we're going to look at some lists and sort of go through what people are doing, what seems to be working, what isn't. There's been some good results for Skaven actually. Anyway, so this is all ordered as per my war score, which is an event score per faction. So the one at sort of 0-100, Tomb Kings is the one that's got the best composite war score at the moment, and Skaven being the worst. This is the popularity chart, so essentially how many times people have taken these factions to tournaments. As you can see, we're starting to see quite a lot of results getting into the 200s. Again, as I've mentioned previously, when that figure gets to like probably what is it, 487, I think, then we can start to do a bit more interesting statistical analysis of like faction versus faction sort of breakdowns and that kind of thing. But yeah, anyway, so the popularity really hasn't changed very much, which is interesting. Warriors of Chaos, I think, have even gone down in popularity despite the fact they've got a new book. But as per my book review, there isn't really a lot in it. There's some new units that are quite cool, but the sub factions aren't particularly. They aren't massively interesting. I mean, they're cool, but like they don't add anything competitively. Unlike, for instance, Tomb Kings with mortuary cults and Kingdom of Bretonia. Actually, both of the Kingdom of Bretonia sub factions are pretty viable for tournaments, whereas the Warriors of Chaos factions for tournaments aren't massively viable. So that's interesting. Anyway, so that's the popularity. Win percentage, again, this is a box and whiskers plot. So the box shows you the average win percentage, and then the whiskers show you essentially the normal range of results. So at a 3 game tournament, you're expected to win pretty much across faction 2 to 3 games. Skaven, if you're winning more than one, you've done quite well. So Skaven are down the bottom, but because we've had quite a good month for Skaven, actually, this bottom whisker here is above 0%. So it's now no longer normal for a Skaven player to lose all their games at a tournament, which is nice to see that some people are sort of bringing them back. This is the win percentage over time. Who on earth is that? I think that's Demons of Chaos, isn't it? Yeah. Demons of Chaos have not had any events in September, despite having the best win rate in August. So people just have stopped taking them. It's interesting because they originally started quite strong, and then you know, it was sort of pretty bad for a bit, and then had a great August, and then nobody's taking them in September. Excuse me, I do have man flu at the moment as well. Hearing me. Righto. But factions like Tomb Kings have always hovered around the top, doing quite well, although they've fallen a bit behind. This one, I think, is this Vampire Counts or High Elves? It's very difficult to see. High Elves are slightly darker. Yeah, I think that's High Elves. The High Elves are having had a pretty good September. As did Wood Elves, to be honest. So Wood Elves, Bretonia, and Bretonia have always been strong. But anyway, Wood Elves, Bretonia, and High Elves have had a particularly good September. There's a sort of a pack there, like your peloton, as it were. Beastmen. No, this isn't Beastmen, is it? This is Skaven. Skaven are improving and are now no longer the worst faction. The worst faction so far in September has been Ogre Kingdoms. Possibly time for me to dust off my fat boys and take them to a tournament. Rank percentile, again, this is so rank percentile is where you finish in a tournament. So your average result is kind of how far up you are. I've inverted the percentile scale, so 100% means first, 1% means last, 50% means in the middle. So again, there's no real massive patterns here emerging really. There are some factions that are better, but you know, in terms of significance, I'm not sure where you draw any lines between them. I mean, these factions all look pretty similar, just visually. So yeah, it's interesting that the High Elves and the Warriors of Chaos have a high war score, but not so good at the rank percentile in total. And the war score is time based, so this suggests that essentially that they're doing better recently than they have historically, if that makes sense. Whereas Beastmen did better historically than they are at the moment, which, you know, figures. But then again, I said that for Wood Elves, but to be honest, Wood Elves have had a good result over the last month. But what colour are they? They're the grey one. But in general, they've kind of been a bit rubbish, although they are improving recently. So that's interesting. And then this chart is the all or nothing chart. This looks at essentially the percentage of people turning up to tournaments who've won all their games or lost all their games as a percentage of the overall sort of results for that faction. So Tomb Kings of Khemri, 1 out of 10 people who take Tomb Kings win all their games. 9%, so just under 1 in 10, lose all their games. So we've looked at like what's normal, and this is looking at essentially the extremes. Yeah, so it's all quite interesting. And then going back to individuals and this war score, Luna Valentine is still top at the moment. She did win another tournament, but I couldn't get the results off Best Coast Pairings because the tournament organizer has done some weird colour coding, and I can't work out how many games anybody's won. So unless it's like pretty easily apparent, I just tend to discount those tournaments, I'm afraid. And there have been a few tournaments this month. Like there was a 2,500 point tournament that I didn't include because it had, I think, at least half the ranking score was down to painting, which doesn't really fit very well with a meta analysis in terms of how good stuff is at tournaments overall. So although I'm sure it was a fun event and everybody probably enjoyed themselves, it doesn't really lend itself to statistical analysis. So I'm afraid that one didn't get in there. But yeah, Luna Valentine, Jack Allen, Phil Carl, these are very, very familiar names. Peter Vicenzi, I think he's new on this front page. Richie Amphlett, he's doing increasingly well and coming up the rankings. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Russ Veal, man of many talents, down there. And I don't know where I've gone. I was hovering around 100, but have fallen off because I just haven't been to anything really. And that's the point really. If you don't go to tournaments, this score kind of reduces over time because you know there's a degrading effect on the score. Where the heck am I? Elkington. Oh, 125. Oh, there we go. Well, that's not terrible, is it? Right. Considering it's out of 1800, that's I'm top 10%, so that's nice. Okay, so that's all the meta, really. There's I need to do like a popularity over time chart, but from looking at this chart for the past goodness knows how many months, I don't think that would really be massively interesting because the popularity is more or less where they were at the start. I mean, I think Orc and Goblins were like 6 or 7% initially, so I think they've increased over time, but the rest I think are more or less steady. I think Beastmen have gone down; they were like 8% at one point, but cool. So that's all the meta. So let's have a look at some lists. So for those who have shortish attention spans, now's the time to like the video, and I'll catch you at the next one. But for those of you who want to listen to me waffle on about lists for a bit longer, then so let's do that. So Foreign in Cathay, I'll move that over here. Foreign Cathay, Old World Crucible was one that we included. BKG, that one had decent data. Some of these, it's like the way that the TOs have decided to use BCP just makes it impossible to like get the data off. It's really annoying. And I have asked BCP if I can like download the data, and they're like, no, the only way you can do it is the way that I currently do, apparently, which I'm not sure I believe, because So behind all this will be like a SQL database or something like that. So it's just data. Like, I don't know why I can't download it as a CSV, but it's exactly the same with it's exactly the same with thingy, the other one, New Recruit, because like I don't know. Why would you want to download icons? Fifth tournament, Metropolis Centre, Invasion Old World, LBK The Old World Tour number 2, War in the Old World 2, Battle of Leeds Fields. Battle of Leeds Fields. Where the bloody hell is it? Battle of... It should be here. It should be here. Oh, that seems to have disappeared. That's weird. Oh, it's there. Idiot. Right. Let's do the 5-game tournaments last. Because they're probably the most interesting in terms of lists, because they've been through the mill a bit more. So let's shove that over there. I should have got this sorted beforehand, but when I tried to boot up OBS, then it decided to crash my computer, which it does every now and again. Right. So, War in the Old World, which was a tournament that took place in England in Great Davis Street, SE. Don't know where SE is, postcode wise. Should we have a look? London. Oh, of course it is, idiot. Right. So, well done to Joseph McGough, Reese White, and Nicholas Boucher for taking out the podium. We'll just have a quick look at these lists. I wouldn't imagine there's anything surprising in there. So Nicholas Boucher has a level 2 wizard, level 4 wizard, a Glade Lord on a dragon with some pretty standard stuff. Some scouts, lots of MSU Glade Guard for days, 3 units of Sisters of the Thorn, and some Glade Riders. So yeah, that's a solid list. I'm not surprised that's done well, because basically like he's taken battle magic. So I think what he's trying to do is essentially just do a Pillar of Fire spam sort of thing, because this one will probably roll it most games. This one's got Lore Familiar, so Nick Nick can just choose it, and then these guys, the sisters, can choose out a battle magic as well, so they can just choose Pillar of Fire. So he's got at least 4, if not 5 Pillars of Fire, romping around the battlefield, and essentially a load of glade guards to just get in the way and make sure he can wield those to maximum effect. Pillar of Fire is really nasty because you can choose the direction. Yes, it's only strength 3, but it is AP 2, which is pretty horrible. So yeah, that's a very strong list. We've got this Britannia list here, which has only a modest 5 Pegasus Knights, a very gentlemanly number of Pegasus Knights. Reese has got the Grail Knights with the Falcon Horn, that's perfectly sensible, and the Banner of Chalon, which I think is the one where you can't stand and shoot against them, which is pretty effective. I mean, Britannia really have all the cool tricks in terms of, like, they don't have like a massive monster dragon thing. That's the only thing they don't really have. But then they do have stuff that can take it down. For instance, this Duke with the Virtue of Heroism, who will have Killing Blow, Monster Slayer, and because he's a Duke, has the Grail Vow, and therefore magical attack. So the Grail Vow just basically gives you magical attack. So yeah, and then Reese has gone for a level 4 wizard with Battle Magic Unicorn Ruby Ring. So that's going to ride around in one of these units of knights and make them really tough. And yeah, so that's again a very strong list, pretty standard for Britannia. But having a good list isn't the be all and end all. You've still got to turn up and actually perform with it. So well done for wielding it properly. And then Joseph McGough, Green Knight. So he's gone Baron, Paladin, Green Knight, 2 Outcast Wizards, because they are very cheap. We've then got the standard stuff, quite small units of standard stuff for them. He's got a big unit of Pegasus Knights and a couple of Bombards. So Bombards are probably the best cannon in the game. Luckily, you're limited to 1 per 1,000 points. So he's got the maximum amount of Bombards, a big unit of Pegasus Knights to be an absolute nightmare to deal with, some MSU style stuff, and then the Green Knight to be an additional absolute nightmare. So yeah, very good, well done. LBK, the Old World Tour, took place in Sweden, 3-game tournament. Well done to Peter Edvardsson for winning it with Orcs and Goblins, no mean feat. Anders Alberg came 3rd with Tomb Kings. Congrats on Victor Nielsen with Beastman coming in 2nd. So well done to those 3 chaps. Peter, he won. So Mortuary Cults, this will be, we've got a High Priest level 4 General on foot. We've got a High Priest level 4 Skeletal Steed. You've got a Mortuary Priest level 2 BSB. So there's lots of magic on foot there. It's got some Tomb Swarms. He's got a big unit of Skellies. 4 Ushabti without bows, with Ritual Blades, which is quite cool. A couple of Tomb Scorpions, and then presumably, 1 Necrosphinx, a Casket, and a Scream Skull. So actually quite a balanced list of a variety of stuff from Tomb King. So that's quite interesting. He's not normally you see like double dragon and like 2 or 3 Necrosphinx. That's the really strong build for Tomb Kings. So it's interesting that he's managed to do quite well without doing that. Victor Nielsen has gone for he's gone for a Minotaur Horde. That's quite interesting. You don't see that particularly often. Normally you see the Doom Bull and the Wargore with BSB in a unit of like 20 Gores or 20 Ungores, doesn't really matter what they're in. It's just basically a Wargore, a Doom Bull delivery unit. So Doom Bull delivery unit, but also like the unit acts as a load of ranks. So you get your rank advantage and your close order and all that kind of stuff. And it's got some Bestigor. They're a bit rubbish, so it's interesting he's done well with them. And Gorgons I really like. Gorgons I rate. I think they're very good. You just don't see them very often, so it's nice that he's got a couple of those in there as well. And then Peter with Orcs and Goblins. He's got this Black Orc Dragon thing. That's a horrible thing to deal with. I played against one recently. Absolutely horrible thing to deal with. He's got Night Goblin Odd Knob, Weird Knob, Big Boss, because he was gone for Night Goblins, 2 of them. So only the 6 Fanatics, a very modest number of Fanatics. He's gone for 12 Black Orcs, which again is quite an interesting number because Normally, if you're going to do the... So you've got to take a unit of Black Orcs for each unit, each Black Orc war boss, and vice versa. So normally you just see a unit of 5 Black Orc mobs, because that little unit of 5 Black Orcs you can stick near your Night Goblins and quell impetuosity, which means they don't have to charge when you don't want them to. So that's normally their function. So he's lent into that a little bit to try and get a bit more value out of the Black Orcs, which is, again, interesting. He's got a couple of Mangler Squigs, who I think are a bit rubbish, but they're kind of okay for their points. And then there's a couple of Doom Divers, which I think are probably the best, definitely the best catapult, rock lobber sort of thing in the game. But and actually relatively okay for 95 points. So but it's because essentially after you've scattered and all the rest, you can just move the template D3 inches of your choice. So that means that if you're landing your stones in the middle of the enemy army, then you more or less always hit something with those. So well done, good list, well done. This is Metropolis. This is an interesting tournament because it's one of those 1999 plus 1 point. So essentially, your list restrictions are essentially that you don't have 2,000 points. So anything that's like 1 per 1,000, you're only allowed 1 of, for instance. So that's quite limiting to some factions, like Exiles, for instance, with the Bombard, you'd only be allowed 1. So it's just another interesting way of running a tournament, really. So Crespo Alvaro, Alejandro Cantal, and Claudio Aroca. Well done to you guys. This took place in Madrid. Crespo came third. So Crespo, or is it Crespo? Which is one that you eth? Is it C in a word? Cuidad? I can't remember. Valencia. It is a C, isn't it? S is pronounced as an S, and the C is a th, I think. Comment down below on my rubbish pidgin Spanish pronunciation guide. So Crespo, Alejandro, and Claudio. Crespo has got the Troll Horde, which is interesting. I hear that the Troll Horde is not very good at tournaments because stupidity is horrible and very difficult to manage. To combat that, so the Troll Hag has some spells that can help out with that. Although the Troll Hag is only like a level 2, so easily outclassed if you've got a level 4 in range. So those spells that essentially allow you to ignore stupidity don't necessarily go off very well. However, the Troll Hag is like, it's basically a giant. There's a level 2 wizard. So very, very difficult to shift. So 2 of them is horrible. And then he's got a couple of orc. So he's got an orc war boss on a wyvern. Is that the general? Why didn't it go for a black orc? Maybe you're not allowed black orcs in Troll Horde. I haven't looked at the army composition for a while. So he's got his 3 troll mobs. Another so it's just loads of trolls and a ball chariot for lols basically. Good out. Alejandro has Beastman. He's got a gore ball. Oh, he's used bloody... Oh, I don't like this army builder. So he's got a gore ball, Bray Shaman, War Gore, BSB. Yeah. Yeah, this is smart. So he's gone for the BSB with... Where is it? The BSB has... where is it? Slug Skin, which basically means you minus 1 to hit him and his entire unit. It's the and his entire unit that's pretty horrible. And that basically means the gore... So he's not got a Doom Ball. He's gone for a Gore Ball to save some points. What's he spent the money on? What's he spent the points on? He's got some Warhounds, which are okay. A big unit of Gores. Oh, I can't read this. Another big unit of Gores. This is very non-standard. And a couple of Gorgons. So I'd love to know what did all the work there, to be honest. Probably the Gorgons. And then Claudio, who managed to win it with Wood Elves, which is interesting. So you got Glade Lord, Dragon, Ogre Blade, the typical stuff. We've got a Treeman Ancient. I quite like the Treeman Ancient because it's like a really tough level 4 wizard. And then he's got some stuff and 2 units of sisters, a unit of ward dancers, which I reckon are quite good, but it's just difficult to get them into a list, like in a competitive looking list. It's quite difficult to slot them in. And then he's got some Warhawk Riders, which I think are pretty good. I think they're better than Eagles, but that debate, I'll probably lose that debate. Anyway, well done to those guys. The 5th tournament, which also took place in Spain, in Barcelona, Mark Arafat came 3rd with Tin Kings. Jordi, was it Jordi Pairols came 2nd with Vampire Counts, and Oriol Magrinha Palau, maybe. Apologies for butchering your names if I have, but well done to you guys. So Mark has a mortuary cult with double dragon, yeah, and he hasn't gone for maximum. He hasn't got any Necrosphinx there, but he has got the casket and Screaming Skull duo, which is quite a good one. The reason these two go together quite well is because you've got Skulls of the Foe, so that's something that you can use to shoot somebody with. So if your magic's not gone off, you can still get them to -1 leadership, so then when you hit them with the Casket of Souls magic missile, you've got much more chance of them actually failing that leadership test. Because like the magic missile is something like D3 plus 3, strength 3, no AP hits normally, but you got to take a leadership check beforehand, and if you fail, it's like 2d6 strength 5 AP, something ridiculous. It's absolutely horrendous if you fail your leadership test, but if you pass it, it's relatively doesn't really do anything. So that little -1 leadership from being hit by Skulls of the Foe is pretty nasty. The other thing as well, Skulls of the Foe, so it's where the rock hits, 2d6 inches of where the rock hits, everything is -1 leadership for the rest of the turn. So that can be pretty useful. So that combo is pretty good. Excuse me a second. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze. Oh, I did in the end. Right, and it's got some Skeleton Warriors. I love a big block of Skeleton Warriors. I think they're great. A big block of Skeleton Archers is pretty useful as well. Especially... Yeah, so he's got a BSP with the Amulet of the Serpent, which gives the unit he's in poisoned attacks. So obviously that can go in the unit of archers, and then later on in the game, so it can go in the unit of archers to begin with, and then later on in the game can go into the unit of Skeleton Warriors to give them poison attacks. But I think you'd probably just stick him in the archers, and then you've got an extra like 2 to your combat res because you got a banner and the battle standard bearer. The battle standard is the battle standard bearer a banner bearer as well? I think they are, and I think it counts as 2 if you haven't got like a unit banner. So quite a lot of archer units don't have like not quite a lot, not very many actually. I'm not sure. Anyway, doesn't really matter. It would be negligible in the game. And he's not gone for Bo Shabti. We're not seeing very many Bo Shabti anymore. Despite the fact that they are excellent. They are actually really... I mean, I tried some of it ago, and they are really difficult to use, to be honest. And despite the models being really cool, they don't seem to actually do a lot. So I was a bit disappointed with mine, really. I'd have much been better served taking other stuff, but never mind. And Hordi with Sceptre of Denaro on a level 2. You normally see that because that's like the double resurrect thing. So you normally see that on a level 4. But he's not gone for like a necromancy heavy build. So we've got a White Lord. We've got a Vampire Count who's a level 2. Who's a Dark Acolyte, which means they can resurrect stuff as well. Only as level 1 though. And Master of the Black Arts means that it's Wizard level 3, basically. So that's quite an interesting build. And then we've got some walls, big unit of Graveguard, which is why the White Lord's there. I think probably because you can make Graveguard cool by taking a White Lord, basically. Then we've got a Corpse Cart. Corpse Carts are really good with the Warped Tintinabulation because it's like, is it like extra spell casting or something, or extra range on? I can't remember exactly, but it's pretty good for the points anyway. And then he's got a big unit of Blood Knights and the Terrorgeist. So he's got a Scream, a really modest amount of Screams actually, only the 2. That's very nice of him. For my list, I've got 9 Blood Knights because I want to just troll people by continually resurrecting 40-point models. But yeah, anyway. Pardon me. Panicked a bit there. I couldn't get the button to work. Then Oriol. Ow! Now I've just bit my tongue. Jesus Christ. I'm totally malfunctioned. I played like 70 minutes of rugby on Saturday, and I felt a bit rubbish last week. Got selected, got to start at tight head, which means you're the guy that gets squished the most. And so played about like 65 minutes, went off, had to go back on again because one of our forwards got injured again. So I went back into front row, and everything ached on Sunday. I think somebody headbutted me in the temple as I was running around, which is nice. So I kind of fell over a bit from that. Just a little bit of a stumble, and woke up really stiff on Sunday, and this cold has then just blossomed over the last week. Brilliant. Anyway, you don't care about that. Oriol Magriña has that thing, but without the troll hide trousers, which is interesting. I mean, I just put the troll. I know you probably want to spend the points elsewhere, but troll hide trousers on that just make it just so hard to kill. And then you got level 4 with War Magic. Excellent. Well done, Oriol. I love War Magic. It's not the most competitive, but it is the coolest. So Black Orc mobs, which you got to take. He's got a Night Goblin mob, which is why he's got... Yeah, so he's got that, so he can take some Night Goblins and 3 Fanatics. He's got some Goblin Wolf Riders with all their stuff, and then he's got a big unit of Boar Boy mobs. This is sensible, right? I see lots of people taking Boar Boy mobs. I think you've got to do it in 10s, and you've got to do big ones. I mean, Boar Boy mobs are possibly the best heavy cavalry in the game because of how cheap they are. So 10 heavy cavalry models for like 280 points. You know, he's got the Thinking Orczak, which is like... Is it they don't suffer from impetuous or something like that? And then he's gone for a magic standard with the Banner of Butchery, which is that the one that's plus D3 to your charge, something like that. Orcs and goblins have like 2 or 3 really good magic banners. So especially with their arcane journal as well. So it's definitely worth. Definitely worth investing a bit into a good unit of Boar Boys. And then he's got a couple of Boar Chariots, because these are pretty horrible. And he's got a Mangler Squig. So, yeah, that's a pretty good list. Yeah, well done for wielding it properly. The War of the Beards Barnsley 2K tournament. South Yorkshire Wargamers, as a club, took out the podium. Matt Baker, presumably it's not... It's me, Matt Baker, from the One Shore, which is, to anybody who's not English, it's a very silly kind of, it's a very BBC, very British, like, chat show, and there's a chap called Matt Baker who who presents on it, and they do all sorts of random, like, just general light entertainment in the most British way possible. So we've got Matt Baker, who I'm not going to pronounce his name like that. Matt Baker. Anyway, so well done, Matt. What? I need to go back to bed. So Matt's done very well with some Tomb Kings. He's got a High Priest level 4, level 4 again, and a BSP Mortuary Priest. Oh, and he's got 8 Bow Shabti. Good lad. Good lad. 2 Scorpions because they're great. 2 Necrosphinx and a Casket. Love this list. This is very competitive. Well, apart from now, that is a big unit of Tomb Swarms to be like a big brick in the middle of the table, though. Because that's like, what, 30 wounds with a 6-up ward? I mean, no toughness or armor save, but still. Because you can give it, like, -1 to hit from a spell from the Casket, and then, like, it's got a 6-up ward and a 6-up regen. And then you can quite happily put, like, what would it be? 8, 10. Oh, is swarms? Is beasts? Its infantry is level plus D3. Cavalry might be level +1. But anyway, that's at least 2 of those bases go back every single turn. So I don't know about them. I really don't know about Tomb Swarms being like your big brick, to be honest. But everything else is pretty cool. Nice. So well done. And then Matt Jones has got some dwarves. Got some Dowie. So we've got a Thane with full plate, blah, 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 on Shield Bearers. BSB. Master Rune of Grunye. Can't remember what that does. Rune of Confusion, Rune of Battle. Master Rune of Gromwell, Rune of Preservation. He spent a lot of points on. So that's so this is +1 to combat res, 5-up ward for him and his unit, and 6-up ward against shooting to friendly units within 6 or something. Rune of Confusion is you make a disordered charge basically, so you don't get your charge bonus. And then he's got Master Rune of Gromwell, which is I think a 2-up save, and a Rune of Preservation, which is immune to Killing Blow, I want to say. So he's spent a lot of points on this BSB. So he definitely wants that to live, and because the Shield Bearers give him an extra 2 wounds as well. So, and then he's got a Thane where he's got a handgun, and he's gone for the Master Rune of Bursting Flame, which is each hit becomes D3 hits or something like that. Then a Rune of Accuracy and a Rune of Rapid Fire, so he can shoot twice. Doesn't suffer any penalties for moving and shooting. Which is good for a handgun because it's cumbersome or ponderous, whichever one is -2 to hit if you move and shoot. So that's a really interesting bunch of characters. Saving points on characters is really smart for dwarves, in my opinion. Unless you're going to go double anvil, of course. But the anvil's more a unit than a character. But and then we've got some Quarrelers, some Rangers, 3 Gyrocopters. Here's where the money is. Some Trollhammer Torpedoes. But actually the Drake Guns, Strength 5, AP1, Armor Bane 1, are really nasty. Considering as well that because they're dwarf crafted, they don't suffer any penalties from move and shoot. And they've got Quick Shot, which means stand and shoot. So they can stand and shoot from any range and no penalties. And they've got BS, 4 or 5 or something? So, like, they're hitting well, they're high strength, they're just really nasty units. So, gyrocopters are definitely necessary to get around the table and just, run stuff down, basically. And, the hammerers, oh my, he's got Master Rune of Hesitation. So, the Thane goes in the hammerers, doesn't it? Because if there's 17 of them, the Thane takes up the space of 4, so that's 21, I think. Which again is really sensible, because he can either go 4x5 in a marching column or 5x4 in like a battle formation and get the ranks, or just do line hammer if he wants. And they're drilled, so they can, Rangers are excellent, Quarrelers are useful. So this is a very competent list. Well done, Matt. Aaron Dawson Glade Lord on a dragon, level 4, level 2. Scouts, Sisters of the Thorn. Oh, some Wild Riders. That's nice to see. But other than that, pretty standard Wood Elf list, and that is wielded very competently. So well done, Aaron. The Battle for Basset Law. Doncaster, I think. That's my attempt at a Doncaster. Oh, Retford. A. I thought DN was Doncaster. It is. Doncaster's there. That's more like Gainsborough. Anyway, Basset Law. Mop Ward came third. Jonathan Ginnever, apologies, came second. And Adam Buchanan came first. So, let's have a look. Mop Ward with his Warriors of Chaos. He's got a Lord on a Dragon with the favour of the gods. Saving points there. That's interesting. We've got level 4 Sorcerer Lord. Zeech on foot. Level 4 Sorcerer Lord. Zeech on foot. Warriors of Zeech to give these wizards +1 to cast. And a Gigantic... Oh, I love the Gigantic Spawn. Slanesh, I think, is my favourite out of all of them. Because you get counter charge and you get something else. Strikes first, which is really good. I tried to take one in a game recently, and although this is the first game in a long time where I got tabled, because I was trying a new list and I totally cocked up my deployment, and the bloke I was up against, he had Orcs and Goblins, so I was kind of expecting a bit of a slobber knocker in the middle, but instead of that, he'd gone for an Orc and Goblin list that was essentially all missile weapons. Like, it was insane. So I cocked up and I got everything wrong. He played everything well, and I ended up getting tabled, which hasn't happened for about 10 years now. But I thought actually my MVP on the game was my Gigantic Spawn. They're really good for how many points they are. So definitely I want 3 of them in an army, because it's surprising how big 3d6 is in terms of a move. Which is why I'm now not so negative on the old Mangler Squigs, because you can, like, I rolled 15, which is like a really big move across the table for something so large, that then also gets a free pivot at the end because it's random movement, and like big things, behemoths interact quite weirdly. So very cool, really like them. The strikes first thing, though, is a bit of a problem because you tend to kill stuff before you get to go. So the Gigantic Spawn has got, like, basically D6 plus 1 attacks. The 1 attack is always going to be the one that strikes last, because the one that strikes last has more AP, I think. But also, if you do damage with it, you get to heal a wound. So you kind of want something to survive, so you can hit it with the strikes last thing and get a wound back, and then do your D6 stomps. So maybe Nurgle is better because you get a 5-up regen. Other than that, it's only got heavy armor, which is pretty crap. But yeah, this looks like a perfectly competent list. There's a massive gun line of 2 level 4 wizards there that are just in a unit of warriors with a war banner. And he's got 8 chosen knights. I mean, personally, if I were him, I'd consider dropping those and going for another 2 Gigantic Spawn. I'd be interested to see how they get on. The problem with chosen knights and elite knights like this is that basically you only have to do 1 wound and then they're dead. The only one that you'd really consider taking are blood knights, because, like, well, you can bring them back, whereas you get unlucky with a few dice rolls with chosen knights, so you've lost a lot of points just for crap dice. So Jonathan Ginnever has named all his characters like an absolute boss. Duke Jasper, La Deuxième, I think. Virtue of Heroism, which is Killing Blow and Monster Slayer, all the cool stuff. Level 4 wizard. Yep. Then we've got all this stuff. Pegasus Knights. Oh, only 3. And a couple of trebuchets. To be honest, I think this is a pretty rubbish list, so he's done very well to grind out some results with it. He has got the Falcon Horn on the Grail Knights. Trebuchets, I've never seen them actually do anything. Maybe Duke Jaspers. Trebuchets are the exception to the rule. Knights of the round 1 foot, I don't see the point of them, but, you know, obviously he's got use out of them. So, yeah, well done, John. Good result. Alan Buchanan has an Empire list and has managed to win a tournament. He's got 3 level 4s on Pegasi, one with a Ruby Ring, one with Law Familiar, Elementalism, Battle Magic, 2 Battle Magic. He engineers and a load of cannons. Okay. So what's going on here is this wizard with the Law Familiar, the reason he's gone that is because he desperately wants a spell that stops people from charging, so he can get some extra shooting out. He's gone for 3 cheap engineers, because these engineers are slightly better than dwarf engineers, weirdly. And then he's gone for a massive gun line and a big-ish unit of knights, just to like get in the way a bit, whilst everything else does some shooting. So this is like a threatens a counterpunch, basically. And he's gone for stubborn on it, which is pretty good. He's got a war banner, so it could last a few rounds in combat as well against anything. 3 cannons, like with 3 engineers nearby, like being able to re-roll artillery dice for fun. It's pretty good. Like 3 great cannons can take down a dragon. 3 cannons can't. 3 great cannons can. Might take them a couple of rounds of shooting, but they're going to get it probably. So yeah, that's really interesting. I wonder who he came up against. Oh, anyway. I'm starting to feel a bit knackered now. Where are we up to time-wise? 46 minutes. God. Oh, this cold. It's just sort of stuck. I just wanted to get this video done, though, because it's been ages since the last one. Anyway, Time of Legends, 2,000 point Warhammer tournament, took place in Western... where is WA? Western. Yeah, Western Australia. Yeah. Thought it was. Had a bit of a brain fart then. Right. So, well done to William, Ben and Jason for taking out the top. Jason won with Vampires, Wood Elves, Chaos Dwarves. Interesting. So William with his Chaos Dwarves, he's got a Sorcerer Lord on a Lamassu, which isn't normally go Great Bale Taurus, but Lamassu has loads of defensive stuff. He's got a Black Hawk War Boss. Don't you have to take a unit of Black Hawks if you've got a Black Hawk War Boss? He's got 3 Hobgoblin Khans because he wants a unit of Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. So you got to take a Hobgoblin Khan to take a unit of Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. But it's not like the Black Hawks and that it's 1 per 1. You can take them, you know. So you don't have to take 1 unit of Wolf Riders per Khan, basically. And they are actually pretty useful. Not really sure what that one's doing on foot, but anyway. And then he's got some bolt throwers, which is really... He's got 4 of them. So most tournament rules. And he's got an Iron Demon. Iron Demons are great. So... oh my god. 2 units of 56 Hobgoblin Cutthroats. You horrible man. God, making somebody wade through all that. Ugh. Oh, 56 though. Man alive. What is that? That's like 14 by 4. 2 just big bricks like that big on the table. I mean, you go through them like anybody's business, but all the short bows as well. That's a lot of bow attacks as well, isn't it? Yeah, because if you could do actually 2 units of 28, couldn't you? So just 2 thin lines all the way across the table. Yeah, but even if you did like 14, by 4, you'd still get, what, 25 shots? Is that right? Because of volley fire? So, yeah, horrible, 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 horrible. Okay, but well done. Ben Leaper with a great stag. That's Battle Standard Bearer. So no dragon, but he's gone for level 4 wizards and a BSB. He's got some dryads, which you don't see. I still think they're quite good, but you don't see them very often. And then sisters and some wild riders, which is again. So it's it's the realms of normalcy for wood elves, really. Jason Robinson managed to win it with a list that says, "I would like to speak to your manager." He's got a Mortis engine, level 4, level 4. The general is the one on the Mortis engine, because of essentially the redeploy spell, which I think is command range. Not redeploy, reserve move spell, which I think is command range, so that makes it 18, so pretty much the whole army can reserve move. And just one Terrorgeist. So he's gone for 4 screams, which is very gentlemanly. So thanks. Well done, Jason. Cool. I think this is the last of the 3-game tournaments. So Keith Hansen managed to not submit his list. But well done for coming third with High Elves. Shane Hall with Kingdom of Britannia. And Adam Slutsky with Warriors of Chaos. But if your team Gutlords, you should be taking some Gutlords, shouldn't you? And helping out the Ogres who've had a pretty bad month. Shame on you. Anyway, Shane Hall has got the Green Knight. That's his. That's a named character. I thought that was going to be his only character there for a sec. And then he's gone for Exiles. So we've probably got 2 Bombards, have we? Yep. And a load of Brigands. And really sorry, but my shoulder's just decided it wants to be in pain. Then we've got some Pegasus Knights, some Yeoman Guard, and some Mounted Knights to the wrap. So this looks like a pretty standard Exile list, to be honest. Yep. Yeah. Not massively surprised by much of that. Virtue of Knightly Temper with Frontier Axe. I quite like that combo. I played against Jack, who took that, and it is pretty nasty. Really good at like carving through units because of all the extra attacks, the reroll hits, the high strength, high AP. You know, on a Royal Pegasus as well. Just pile that into like the flank of a like a unit of heavy infantry or whatever, and you're just going to carve through it. Really, it's pretty nasty. And then Adam with Toronto minus Chosen and Drogas. So we've got, presumably this is a list that he took to a thing in Toronto, but he's taken out the Chosen and added some Dragon Ogres. So here's his Dragon Ogres. He's, what is in the list? Oh, Dragon, yeah. And then Demonic Mount. So he spent a lot of points on characters, basically on 2 characters. A couple of units for Forsaken. Forsaken by Slaanesh, I 100% agree with that, because you get Swift Stride, which is amazing. You want to get them into combat. I think next time I go to a tournament, I'm not going to bother with Warriors or anything and just take a big brick of Forsaken. And then some Marauder Horsemen, now that the models are out again. I think they are anyway. So I need to get some Marauder Horsemen, really. But yeah, this is a perfectly competent list. The one thing I'd change that for a Chariot, because then at least it can do something if you need it to, get some impact hits and stuff. But then again, the Demonic Mount, it acts as a skirmisher, so it can pretty much just go in any direction. So, you know, yeah. But anyway, Adam, well done. This is a really competent list, so very, very, very good. Cool. So then the 5-game tournaments. There's 5 of them. 5 games. So this is the Old World Crucible 2024. Took place at the start of September in Florida. Charlie Gomez managed to come third with Wood Elves. John Carter managed to come second with List Unsubmitted Orc Goblins and Orcs and Goblins. And then Goodness gracious. Robert Jelly. Congratulations to all three of you, but in particular to Robert for coming first. Charlie, with his two Sisters of the Thorn. Or is that Crucible minus two Sisters of the Thorn? Anyway, he's got 3 units of Sisters of the Thorn. He's got 2 units of Wild Riders. Actually, I quite like that because they're not expensive and they are like glass cannons. Like, they will delete whatever they charge and then they die. So, they're pretty cool. MSU style Corbett and then a dragon with the typical dragony stuff and Spellweaver. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I quite like that. This is again a very good list for Wood Elves. I would like to see more Dryads, to be honest, because I really like them. Like they do quite a bit of damage in combat. And skirmishes actually makes them quite difficult to hit and move through cover as well, so you can stick them in woods and stuff and make them a bit harder to hit. And then Robert won with pretty standard Tomb King list, actually. I say pretty standard. 50 archers is not standard. He's got... Okay, so that goes in them. So Royal Herald goes in them. They're going to be in maybe 5 ranks of 10. Oh, sorry, 10. Yeah, 5 ranks of 10. So you get like, what, 30 shots, all with poisoned, which is quite horrible. 3 Tomb Scorpions, 2 Necrosphinx and a Casket. Yeah, great list. Great list. Not surprised it did well. Well done, Robert, for wielding it, though. It's, again, good lists don't necessarily win tournaments. You've actually got to turn up on the day and do it. Invasion Old World 2024 took place in Norway. Decent amount of people turned up. Dark Elves, Vampire Counts and Bretonnia are the top 3. Well done to Shindra, Garth and Christian. Shindra. I think it'd be... Anyway, apologies for butchering your name because I have no idea how to pronounce it. So we've got a Dreadlord on Dragon, Pendant of Caleth. That's the one that's basically strength. It's like the Blessing of Bretonnia, but better. So you get a 5 up ward against all attacks, but a 4 up ward against attacks that have strength 5 or more. Considering your toughness 6, that makes Pendant of Caleth amazing. Supreme Sorceress is pretty well equipped. Dark Elf Master, not sure what that's for. Full plate shield barding. I was on a cold one. Okay. And a wizarding hat, dark magic. Okay, and a death hag, which are one of the best characters. It's got big unit of witch elves with a death hag, so they're just gonna just rampage up the field and hope to get into combat as soon as possible. And as soon as they do, they're just gonna blend whatever they're in combat with. Shades are pretty good. Charybdis, I'd love to know how that went on because I think Charybdis is like one of the best things in the Dark Elf Armory, but well done anyway. Guard had Vampire Count on a Dragon, Talisman of Protection, and the ability to resurrect, which is of limited benefit really because you have to be not in combat to use the Vampire Count one, I think, don't you? The character doing it. Then we've got a Master Necromancer, level 4 with a Sceptre of De Noiro, so you can res twice per turn, and an Acolyte with a Ruby Ring, and then a White Lord, because we've got some Grail, ghouls, lots of ghouls, that's interesting, and a couple of Terror guys, so lots of like skirmishing stuff in combat. There's not, I mean the brick will be 2 Tomb Banshees as well. Ooh. Yeah, so we've got 4 Screams, which is horrible, and a level 4 Necromancer. This isn't like perfectly optimal, if I'm being honest. There's some bits in this list that are a bit weird for like a normal competitive vampire count list. So, well done to God for doing something slightly interesting with vampires and also coming second. But Christian managed to win it with okay. This list seems to be cropping up quite a bit. Yeah. Errantry banner. I can't remember what the errantry banner does, to be honest. Just the one bombard as well. 7 Pegasus Knights. So we've got a lot of Pegasus Knights and a bombard. And then just some other stuff. 500 points of other stuff. And then quite a lot on characters for an Exiles list. Really interesting. Yeah, I'd love to know how that plays. But well done, Christian. Battle of Leeds Fields. Lourdes is the... Lourdes is, I think, the Norse, isn't it? The Viking language name for Leeds, I think. Anyway, Stan came third with Orcs and Goblins, Bretonnia, and then Tomb Kings. Not expecting anything massively surprising here. Level 4, 3 level 4 wizards, an unkillable dragon thing, 6 fanatics, 10 black orcs, 2 goblin bolt throwers, a doom diver catapult, a giant slightly surprising but they are very good, and 2 mangled squeaks. This is a perfectly competent list and it's obviously been executed pretty well, so well done, Stan. Alexander Wales came second, congratulations, and he's got more or less the usual Duke build. Again, he's not got any Grail Knights, so that's where the Falconhorn goes. And then he's got 8 Pegasus Knights and some Mounted Yarmen. And then a pretty standard, Cortax set of things. So, yeah, very, very... Yeah, and he's got a Baron with the Virtue of Knightly Temper and the Ogreblade and a Royal Pegasus. So this is going to do some blending. Whereas this is going to sort of stay alive and maybe charge a dragon in the flank and try and roll a 6 to wound, basically. So, again, a very competent list. And Scott Reed has gone for Tomb Kings, Dragon, Tomb King, Armor of Ages, High Priest. And he's gone for some Stalkers, some Bow Shabti, 3 Scorpions, 2 Neck. Again, very competent list. Well done, Scott, for bringing it home. A foray in Cathay. Tom Carley, Knights of the Shire. Congrats to Tom, Rich, and Matt Howley for taking out the podium. That took place in... Oh, this was Rob Symes' tournament. Yep. So Tom has Chaos Dwarves, so he's got level 4 on a Bale Taurus with a Mantle of Stone, which makes it top to 7. So that's going to be pretty difficult to shift. He's got another almost impossible to shift dragon there. He's then got a couple of Hobgoblin Khans, so he can take some Hobgoblin Wolf Riders because they're great. A couple of cheap Bolt Throwers and an Iron Demon, and then a big block of Cutthroats with the short bows, and a reasonable size. This is starting to... I mean, there's a pattern here over the last month, isn't there? That the Black Hawk mob tax... We're not doing 5 models. We're seeing 12. 12 seems to be the number, doesn't it? And then a little unit of Infernal Guard Fire Glaze for presumably kind of hovering around the bolt throwers and protecting them a little bit. And then Rich Parks, we've got a captain of the Empire on a Demigriff with some defensive stuff and some attacking stuff. Presumably we've got some Demigriff Knights for him to go in. Yep. We've got Empire Knights, 24 veteran troops, a steam tank and a Hellblaster, and 1 Great Cannon and an Engineer. He spent a lot of points on characters, hasn't he, for Empire? Normally it's a bit less than that. Where's all his points gone? It doesn't seem like that much for an Empire army, does it? It seems like quite a small Empire army. But anyway, well done, Rich. Yeah, just I can see where his points are gone, but like it just doesn't feel like very much really. I think it's that Lecter that's kind of taking up a big lot of points. Is the War Altar really any good? I thought it was a bit rubbish, but clearly Rich disagrees. And then Matt Howley, have I already done that one? Oh bloody hell! Chaos Dwarves came third and first. Well, Rob Simons does like his Chaos Dwarves, doesn't he? So yeah, I'm sure he's very happy with that. I'm sure he was absolutely beaming when he got to award two of the podium places to his favourite faction. Anyway, level 4. Uh, this hasn't got a big unit of Hobgoblins. It's got a bigger unit of Infernal Guard and a couple of Death Shriekers. None of the... interesting. Okay. Sorry, I left that on. Sorry for being a bit gross and a bit snotty, but can't be helped, and I just wanted to get the video out. So we've come to an hour and 5 minutes, so that's not a bad record time. If there's anything else that you want me to cover or do or have a look at, or maybe you want me to have a look at your lists or something like that, just please put a comment down below and we can chat. I'm now going to go and probably go back to bed because I feel absolutely knackered. And hopefully next time I'm not going to be quite so snotty and broken. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, just do all the YouTubey things and catch you around soon. Bye.